Hey guys, it's Sarah here from TFL and this is the middle of nowhere. Today I have a 2019 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross SEL all-wheel drive. Pretty much the top tier of the Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross. Now when this thing first debuted, I was like, Mitsubishi, what are you doing? You killed off the Evo and now you've turned the Eclipse into a crossover? But honestly, I think Mitsubishi is just evolving. They're doing what they have to do to survive. And right now, crossovers and SUVs and trucks are dominating in the market. So Mitsubishi has evolved its vehicles into something new. And I'm here to test the Eclipse Cross on my little rally special stage I've created to see if any of its rally heritage has survived. As far as exterior styling goes, I am a big fan of the style of the Eclipse Cross. I especially like the front end, the headlight shape with the way the grille wraps around under the headlights and these massive oversized lights on the front bumper. I feel it kind of gives it more of like a rally style to it, even though this isn't really much of a rally vehicle. I just really like the way it looks overall. Now moving on to the side of the car, the first thing that you notice when you look at the side of this thing is it doesn't really have much of a butt to it. It just kind of drops off after the rear wheels. I kind of like the back end when you look at it, especially the taillights. I'm a huge fan of the taillights on the Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross. I think they're really good looking and how they kind of swoop around and almost meet in the center between the two back windows. It looks like a little space shuttle or something. It's a really good style to it though. As far as the wheels go, I'm not a fan of the two-tone wheel style, and you see this on a lot of other vehicles. It's just a trend that I wish would go away. I prefer one solid color for a wheel. For this not having much of a backside from the side profile, it definitely has quite a bit of storage space. I'm actually really surprised, and I really like the fact that it has that Rockford Fosgate subwoofer tucked away on the side over there. When I first got into this Eclipse Cross, I was shocked at how nice the interior actually is in here. And one of the things that stood out to me the most is I'm usually not a fan of fake carbon fiber trim, but the carbon trim on the interior of this has that dry carbon look with a matted finish, and it actually looks really good. And I love how the silver trim that flows down the center of where the HVAC controls are kind of like follows the exterior design on the front of the vehicle. It's a really good looking interior. I love the fact that the inside of the bottom of the steering wheel is painted gloss black, and that piano black finish is all throughout the interior, which a lot of people aren't a fan of because it gets dirty really quick, but I don't care, it looks really good. The center of the gauge cluster in front of the steering wheel has a very similar display that was found in the former Mitsubishi Evolution 10. So I like that it's kind of like a similar feeling when you get into this vehicle, let you know, hey, I'm still in a Mitsubishi. Big fan of the Rockford Fosgate audio system. I definitely like that. The automatic climate control, which I'm about to turn on because it's almost 100 degrees outside right now, so I'm cooking in this car. And then as soon as you start it, I love the fact that the heads-up display folds out of the top of the gauge cluster. It's really futuristic looking. I don't know, I'm cheesy, but I really like the way that just pops up. It's so cool. It does not have air-conditioned seats, although it does have a heated steering wheel and heated seats, which I will not be using right now. As far as the infotainment goes, this little mouse pad that it comes with, I like it. It's soft touch and it's really easy to use while you're driving. I like the way it feels, and it's kind of where my arm naturally rests when I'm putting my arm on the center armrest. I absolutely love that I have my own sunroof back here. That's such a nice touch. And the fact that I have tons of legroom and tons of headroom for being such a small vehicle is really shocking. Big win on the back seat. But enough about the interior, it's time to drive this thing. I want to see if Mitsubishi has retained any of its rally heritage in this little Eclipse Cross. It is all-wheel drive, and I do have the SAWC controller set to gravel since we are in a sandy gravel environment. I've driven this thing on the road already quite a bit, and my only complaints driving it on tarmac is the short wheelbase on this thing really shows through, and it's kind of twitchy in the handling. It's not a very good performing car on asphalt. It is a great little commuter, and I think it would do well in snowy environments, but I wouldn't really push this thing hard through the twisties, if you get what I'm saying. But off-road is a different story. I can already see that it does have a little bit of a firm ride just from going slow over these bumps, but I think Mitsubishi is keeping its rally heritage alive with this one. It's not the best handling car on asphalt, but it actually feels more at home on the gravel, truth be told. Oh yeah, this is fun. It does take bumps pretty hard though. This is definitely not rally suspension. Oh yeah. I have to say the little 1.5 liter with 184 pound-feet of torque definitely does give a good shove in the low end, and even on dirt, it's still punchy on dirt. Like, it just kind of put me back in my seat on dirt with traction control off. That's not that bad. Oh, this is fun. This thing is actually fun in the dirt. Let's go around this little hairpin. A little bit sideways action. Oh yeah. Oh, I really wish this had a manual transmission. It does a really good job over like smaller imperfections in the road. Like on the gravel right now, it's doing a good job at managing smaller imperfections, but when you hit the bigger bumps, it's still rather jarring, and that's something I noticed driving it on the street too. It's really firm suspension, and it's actually really twitchy handling too, I think because of the short wheelbase. It almost reminded me of driving a Jeep on pavement just because it's such a short wheelbase. It's very twitchy, I guess the best way I could describe it. Now, I don't want anyone to get confused. I'm not trying to compare this to like a Jeep at Moab or something. It's not that type of off-road review. The one thing I noticed too, when I have the SAWC set on gravel mode and I floor it in the gravel, even with traction control off, it does a pretty good job of putting the power down and gripping. And it actually puts me in my seat a little bit. That's so surprising. I really did not expect that. That was a pretty big bump that I just went over, and it wasn't that bad. Oh, yeah. All right, now that I'm done hooning around in the gravel, let's drive this thing on the pavement and see how it does driving like a normal car. Definitely have to say this thing does a great job off-road, and Mitsubishi, you have kept the rally heritage alive in this little Eclipse Cross. One of the features I thought was really cute is when you have it in the eco mode, there is a setting here on the gauge cluster that displays a little tree, and you're awarded for driving economically because the tree will have leaves that fill in when you're driving efficiently. Right now, after that run in the dirt, my leaf is dead completely, but whatever. Over the past week of driving this car now, one thing that I have noticed with the interior is it does get dirty kind of quickly as far as the seats go. I don't know why they're so susceptible to picking up stains. Even just rubbing my hand across it, I can make like little white marks. I was a little bummed out at first that Mitsubishi was turning the Eclipse name into a crossover, but I have to say I like this little Eclipse Cross. I think it has a lot of character to it, and I don't know, it's just one of those little funny vehicles that you drive that you really appreciate. I've even named this one. His name is Mountain Goat, because he reminds me of a little mountain goat. He just wants to go everywhere and he's happy about it. So yeah, I think this is a great vehicle for first-time buyers. You don't have to worry about your kids drag racing anybody with it because you're not going to win. And it's fun. I would really like to see Mitsubishi bring back some of its performance-oriented vehicles. And I know crossovers are selling so well, so what about just taking like the drivetrain out of the former Evo 10, the 4B11T, and the dual clutch gearbox that was found in the MR edition and sticking it in this? So what are my final thoughts on this Eclipse Cross? I like it. It's cute. It does not live up to the old Mitsubishi Eclipse name, but it doesn't have to. Mitsubishi has evolved into something different. They're making crossovers and SUVs now, and that's what sells. I just wish that they would give us at least one sports car. Maybe bring back the 3000 GT. Bye.